More than 2.5 years after the tragic crane collapse that took the lives of 5 people in Kelowna, the RCMP have finally concluded its investigation and submitted to the BC Prosecution Services for criminal charge assessment.
I want to know the whole story.
The Kelowna RCMP have not announced who the charges are recommended against. Chris Vilnius, father of Kaylin Vilnius, one of the 5 killed in the accident, says there are more questions left to be answered.
Who was responsible for that decision to allow those basically kids, young men, on the tower that day that didn't have the experience, had never taken a tower crane down?
Vilnius says his son, who was 23 years old at the time, had been working in construction for a few years, but was not experienced enough to disassemble a tower crane.
And the parents should never have to get that call. But Kaylin should have never had to go to work that day and not had the opportunity to go home. He was like all these men were. They were young with families. Some had kids on the way. Kaylin and Jared never had the opportunity to have any. So there was a lot of life that was taken that day.
In a statement, WorkSafe BC says it will not be releasing its incident investigation report to ensure that it doesn't affect the charge assessment process, and that since the accident, it's made crane safety recommendations to the industry. But experts say these have not yet been implemented.
The best way to prevent it is for our industry, government, and the regulators to decide that this type of incident isn't acceptable anymore, and that we need to decide that BC is going to be the leader in tower crane safety.
There's been 2 accidents involving tower cranes in Metro Vancouver in the last month. The International Union of Operating Engineers calling for mandatory certification for those working on cranes.
It's fairly rare to have a criminal investigation tied to an industrial accident. So the fact that we've gotten to the point where charges are recommended, I think, is an important step.
Lawyers representing Stemmer Construction, whose workers were dismantling the crane at the time of the collapse, said in a statement, the decision of the RCMP to publicize the results of their investigation while remaining unwilling to name the parties who they say are criminally responsible is, in our opinion, both highly unusual and inappropriate. In Burnaby, Cecilia Hua, City News.